Welcome to the Andy Ruther Show. Here is your host, Andy Ruther.
Welcome back to another episode of the Andy Ruther Show. That is me, Andy Ruther, coming to you from Cincinnati, Ohio. That's where I'm at, guys. That's my home. I'm trying to think here. So I'm 43. I've lived in Cincinnati like half my life, maybe? Figure the first 18 years, go to college for 5. Shout out to that victory lap. Then moved to Vegas for 2, LA for 13. Yeah. Back here for about 5. So about half my life now. So about half my life. I can say I'm a Cincinnatian. Speaking of where I live, guess who I just saw? Just ran into Gay Greg. You know, a lot of people keep saying, I need more Gay Greg updates. Here they are. Like here's the thing. If I run into Gay Greg, I have an update. If I see him, I have it. Because he just again, I know I keep saying this on the show. You start here and you end up here. That's how it always works with Gay Greg. You never just stay on the topic at hand. He will take a conversation and it will always 100% without a doubt, 100% of the time, it goes to something sexual. It always does. It always does with Gay Greg. And it makes me laugh every time. So last week I talked about him. As usual, it gets sexual. He's talking about jumping around, flashing his dong to his wife, whatever he was saying, again, completely inappropriate. I got my 2-year-old daughter by. It's just like, that's how he is. He did it again, like a couple days after I recorded last episode. And again, I'm with my 2-year-old daughter. I mean, there has to be context here. It really is. He'd be a great character on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Great character on Curb. One of my favorite shows of all time. He'd be perfect. He wouldn't even have to act. He could just be himself. So anyway, he walks up. He's walking his dog. I'm getting home from picking my daughter up from daycare, and there's all this work going on across the street. There's all this work basically directly across from me in the cul-de-sac, and it was a lot of work last week. You could tell all the carpet was ripped out. There was all these different trucks there. Clearly there was some sort of flood. Something bad happened, right? And I noticed it a couple months ago in the deep winter because there was a plumbing truck, and the guy had told me that basically there was flooding in the garage, yada, yada, yada. All right. So I knew some stuff had happened, and the old woman who lives there, she's 80. We just can't figure out. I've talked about her on the show. We don't understand. I said this last year, I think. I did a wellness check on her probably last summer because her garage door had been open for about 24 hours and she didn't do anything about it. So I was like, is she okay? Wanted to make sure she didn't die, to be perfectly honest. I talked about that. So she's a drunk. Like, I used to debate, is Gay Greg just gossiping? Is the 80-year-old woman a drunk? She's a drunk. I have that confirmed now, just from personal evidence. The poor woman is a drunk. It's sad. The whole situation is sad, guys. She's 80, no family that we know of. She's lived in this 3-bedroom house since 1997. Why? I don't know why she's lived there for the last damn near 30 years. So I guess there was a flood, a pipe burst. There was an issue with her washing and drying machine, and I guess basically it flooded the house and she didn't know it. Her house is probably laid out like mine, where we have a washer and dryer. There's a laundry room upstairs in my house on the second floor, and basically she didn't know, and she doesn't go into the other bedrooms because why would she? And basically water had been leaking through those rooms for God knows how long. Who knows what kind of situation we're dealing with over there? I don't know. Mold and everything that happens when you have water and damage to the wall and to the carpet, all that stuff. And who knows how long she was living in this. It's not good. It's just not a good situation. In fact, there was a guy there when it snowed real bad in January. He couldn't even pull into her driveway. I helped him shovel. She doesn't even know this. I shoveled her driveway twice uh, throughout snowstorms in the winter. I think she just feels the snow magically disappeared. I think she just assumes. I felt bad for her. You know, you feel bad for her. She's an 80-year-old woman. I watched her. She definitely drinks all night. I watched her one time walk outside when it was basically dark with a shovel and a pajamas. And she realized, oh shit, it snowed like 1.5 feet. I can't get this. So I went over the next day, you know, didn't say anything, just shoveled her driveway. I feel bad for her. She can't get out. She's trapped. So anyway, I'm asking Greg, what's going on here? Like, because I know he'd know. You know, he's the neighborhood gossip. He's the TMZ here at Reserva Turpin. That's how he is. And he's like, oh my God, the whole place flooded. It was a mess. She had to rip out all the carpet. The third floor was just destroyed. Even it leaked even down below that on the first floor. Oh my God. And that's what we were helping her. Matessi, you know, my wife who speaks Spanish, because, you know, it's his mail order wife, his Argentinian wife. He's like, she went over because it was all Mexicans. They didn't speak any English. And I was telling her, you got to tip the guys because they're moving your furniture and they're helping you. They don't have to move the furniture. They're just putting in the carpet. Why would you? You're just putting in the carpet. Why would you do that? And so he's telling me all this and we're talking and I'm like, it's so sad. It's just sad. And I'm being serious, right? I'm like, she's a drunk. She lives by herself. The place floods. This actually happened to our washing machine when we moved here a few months after, but obviously I noticed the leak and we got it under control, but she didn't. So who knows? They had to just basically gut the house. This poor woman needed her house gutted. And you're probably saying, why are you telling me all this, Andy? This is boring. What's so interesting? Here's why. Because Gay Greg took this perfectly normal, perfectly sad discussion about this old woman and her house and how she lives by herself and she's lonely and she's a drunk. And I'm like, man, I feel bad for her. And I'm telling him how I shoveled her driveway and I've done wellness checks, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, you know, swingers lived there before her. I'm like, get out of here, Greg. He's like, yes, swingers live there. Swingers lived there before. I said, how do you know? He goes, oh, they were swinging. They had sex parties before. I said, at our little suburb in Cincinnati, Ohio, you're telling me swingers were living 2 doors down from you. And that's just, like, it just worked out that way. Like that's kind of crazy to think. He's like, oh no, you know how I know? They had a not watermelon. They had pineapple on their door. And I said, what are you talking? He goes, oh, that's a sign of a swinger. You put a pineapple on your door. They were swinging. They had sex parties. And I was like, this guy, is he really full of it? And then I look it up. I got it in front of me. What is the deal with pineapples and swingers? Right? I guess it is. The pineapple, specifically the upside down pineapple, is a symbol the swinger community uses as identification. It's kind of like a pride flag, like, yo, we're down with the cause, right? It can be in lawn decorations, decor, clothes, or in just a mention of an upside down pineapple party. This is from a Reddit forum. A section of my neighborhood in my town has a high population of swingers, and there are a lot of pineapples and upside down pineapple decor at those specific houses. It can be used in various parts / vacation settings to other swingers to help identify who's swinging. And then I saw this video. It's a pretty funny TikTok video. So this chick discovered that her parents were swingers when she pulled up one day because they had the upside down pineapple. Here, check this out.
I just pulled up to my parents' house and
there it is. So for those who aren't watching and just listen to the audio, It's a giant flag at her parents' house with 2 upside down pineapples, and it says, "Plays well with others."
Okay. That's one way to find out your parents are swingers. Cool.
That's wild, man. That's a crazy way to find out your parents are swinging. I don't know how I feel. I would struggle. I would have struggled with that one. Like, okay, they're swingers. So I guess this is a thing. The upside down pineapple. There's a lot of stuff out there. You know, they have these cruises. I came across this other website because I started Googling things. I'm on this website, Southampton Cruise Center. Pineapples on cruise ships is a thing, apparently. There are specific cruise itineraries which are designed for swingers in mind, where everyone on board is there for the same thing and have the same mind. So they have like swinger cruises. I guess the first ever swinger cruises launched in 2008 by YOLO Cruises. They're referred to as lifestyle cruises. So apparently swingers live there before the old woman who is a drunken alcoholic and lives by herself. And what did Greg say? Did I put this in my phone? Oh, so apparently, according to him, he's like, they were always swinging. And I guess she found another guy in one of the swinging parties, and she left her husband for another guy when they were swinging. And his direct line, because the minute he said it, I put it right into my phone because I didn't want to forget, because it was a classic gay Greg line. He said verbatim, "She must have found someone with a better package." No. I messed it up. Sorry. "She must have found someone with better equipment." And he cackled and laughed and walked away with his little dog. And I'm just sitting there with my 2-year-old. Again, like every gay Greg story, we started with a serious discussion about this poor old drunken woman who lives by herself, who had a massive flood, and it's sad, and she's just, it's just not a way you want to live. It's depressing. We went from there to him talking about swingers parties because swingers lived before. Now, I had to look it up. I was like, is he full of it? Is he lying to me? Sure enough, there was a couple who owned the home before her, because these houses were built in 94, 95. So there was a couple for a couple years, the alleged swinger couple that he claims, that did live there. So that is your latest gay Greg update. Who knows what's next? Who knows? Next time I see him, who knows? I don't even know where he's going to go, but I will make sure to keep everybody informed, because I know gay Greg is a huge hit. He's a huge hit. And I want to kind of follow along this wave path right now with the swingers, with something that I keep thinking of this week. I don't know why, and I'm laughing. So there's this big controversy, right, with them texting war plans on the bombing that they just did in Yemen on the Signal chat, right? So I guess that reporter from The Atlantic was on it. He shouldn't have been on it. It was pretty much classified information. They're all arguing whether it was actual war plans, whatever. Yeah. Like, I don't even care. Like, that's like, I'm not going down all that because I don't really care. I haven't followed it closely enough. And the big debate is like, should they have been on this? He shouldn't have been on this, and then there's a whole discussion. But that's not where my mind went. I keep going back to the time that my little brother's friend was on a text, a big group text, when text messaging was new, like a newer thing, when group texts were new. And we're probably talking, I don't know, literally 15 years ago. It's my brother and guys that he went to the Air Force Academy with. It's some of his classmates, me, my 4 brothers, my parents. I don't know why we're all on this text. I don't know why. Why would you have a group text thread with all these people? Again, text threads were new. They were new. It was like an email chain. They were new. Nobody knew what to do. But the reason I'm bringing this up again, I have nothing. I don't really care about what happened on Signal. Here's what I care about and what I want to laugh about and share with you guys. For some reason, I still to this day don't know why. One of the kids on the group text shared a dick pic, and my mom and dad were on it. And that's all I keep thinking about when they're going over this controversy about the government plans and the military operation. I just keep thinking like, oh, I can relate to that maybe in my own life. And I'll never forget, because I'm living in my apartment at Venice Beach at the time. And again, we have this massive group text. I don't know why to this day. I don't know why all these people were on it. There might have been 20 people on this group text. 15 people. There's too many people who don't know each other. And I don't know why. But my brother's classmate and friend posted a picture of his penis on the text thread. And I remember instantly thinking, oh my God, my mom is on this. And my mom, rest in peace, was a very conservative religious woman. And I remember just thinking what is going to be my mom's reaction when she gets a picture of a penis of somebody she doesn't even know, right? My mom knew my brother's friend, but she doesn't have his number saved. She doesn't even know whose penis is on there. And then I'm wondering at the time, do my parents, do they talk about it? Are they back in Cincinnati, Ohio at the time? Are they having a conversation hey, what just happened? And who sent a picture of their penis? It's absolutely unbelievable. Which, by the way, again, we're talking about military people. So maybe this is a trend here. Guys, maybe not don't put everybody on the text. Maybe be a little more discerning on who's on the thread here. Sharing military plans, military operations, pictures of your penis. It's giving me a good laugh, as you can see. I've been laughing a lot this week thinking about it. I got to follow up with my brother because this was 15 years ago. I wanted to, why did he send that picture? Which, by the way, is a reckless move. If you don't know who's on the thread, you should always be cautious about what you say. 100% cautious. The last thing you want to do is send a picture of your penis. If we have a list of things that you're going to do on a text thread with people you don't know, that's the most important thing you should not do. Send a picture of your junk. I don't know why he did it. I'm just picturing my mom just eating a meal. She got a white glass of wine. Just oh my God, did you see this? And again, I don't know why we're all on the same text thread. Why are we all on this? I didn't really know him. Why are my brothers and I on this with his classmates that we've met a few times from Air Force Academy? Why are my parents on this? Are there other parents on this? Who got this? Did the reporter from the Atlantic, did he get the dick too? Did he get the dick pic? Was he privy to that? Is he just getting everything from military these days? Again, such a serious discussion everyone's having, and here I am just sitting at home being why did that kid send a picture of his dong to my mom? Good times, guys. Good times. I'll tell you what. With my parents being gone, the comedy has just it's been stronger than ever with my four brothers and I. When you lose your parents, that's the silver lining on all this is just me just sharing that right now. It's it sucks and it's difficult without mom and dad here, but it's oh, we have those memories of that time that they got a penis pic unsolicited. And what did my brother do? Did he call that guy into it? Did he text him what are you doing, man? My mom and dad are on this. Why are you doing that? Did he call him out? Was he mad? Like I don't even know how I'd react if I had a buddy do that. Rest in peace, George Foreman. George Foreman died last week. Rest in peace. Legendary boxer died 5 days ago on March 21st. I don't want to talk about his boxing because his boxing was basically, it wasn't around my time. It wasn't around my time. Like I wasn't really born yet in his heyday. I remember him like getting back into fighting when I was a kid. And at 46, I remember he was the oldest heavyweight. Right? At one point, like we got back into boxing. I want to talk about the Foreman Grill, though. The George, like that's literally how he's known to a lot of people. The Foreman Grill. Because then I started going down some rabbit holes about George Foreman. The Foreman Grill, which it's like all such a fascinating story for me. The George Foreman Grill launched in 1994. Then it was known as the George Foreman Lean, Mean, Fat-Reducing Grilling Machine, playing off his boxing name. Guys, the George Foreman Grill since 1994 has sold over 100 million grills. Let me repeat that. They have sold over 100 George Foreman grills. You know, we had one at my house, at my parents' house, growing up here in Cincinnati. I had one in college at St. Louis U. I definitely had one in the condo I lived at in Las Vegas, my first apartment in Los Angeles. My point is, like, I alone went through a bunch of George Foreman grills. It's absolutely fascinating. He made so much money off this, guys. So listen to this. George Foreman never confirmed exactly how much he earned from the endorsement to have his name on it. So they paid him outright. Listen to what he was making. He was bought out for $138 million in 1999. So I don't know what that is in inflation, but we're talking 26 years ago. He was bought out for the exclusive rights for his name for $138 million. Before that, he was getting 40% of the profits. He probably shouldn't have sold out. Probably should have kept doing that. He was making $4.5 million a month at its peak. So it's estimated that George Foreman made over $200 million from the endorsement of the grill, far exceeding what he earned as a career boxer. It's pretty amazing. George Foreman earned over $200 million on that little grill. And we have to pay tribute on this George Foreman grill with a buddy of mine, comedian Lachlan Patterson, his bit, which I know has gotten steam again. And I know it got steam in the last year from Nate Bargatze, because I know Nate Bargatze played it on his podcast. I'm going to play it again here. Shout out to Lachlan on this. It's a great bit, man. It's a funny stand-up comedy bit about it. And if you've ever owned a George Foreman grill, this bit is literally absolutely spot on.
Tell from the grill that George really didn't have a lot of help with this thing. He just walked into an appliance factory. I got an idea for a grill. We're gonna put it on an angle. Let's go. And nobody helped him. They're like, all right. Nobody stood up and was like, hey George, how about an on and off switch? No.
Like that's a great point, right? I never really thought about it until you see Lachlan's bit on it. It's like, there's no on and off switch. Like I never thought about that growing up. I never thought about that in high school. I never thought about that in college. Why is there no on and off switch on the Foreman? You just plug it in and it's on.
No on and off switch. You plug it in and it's on. And when you unplug it, make it take a couple hours to cool down, all right? Just put it on an angle. That's all we need to think about.
I love his go-through line on this, Lachlan's, is put it on an angle, which is true. I mean, everything he's saying is 100% true. Like, why did it took so long? Everybody I know has burned their hand on a George Foreman grill. It took so goddamn long for that thing to cool down.
No one stood up. Well, what about a thermostat, George, with like a range of different temperatures for different foods? No, one temperature is all you're gonna need with this grill. 550 degrees.
It was always so damn hot. There was never a range. It's so true. It was always just 2 million degrees.
And make it hot on the outside too. And put it on an angle. Let's go. No illegal stuff. But hey, George, what about making a locking hinge so they can safely rest their food and take it out without hurting themselves? No, make it like a rat trap. Just put it on an angle. Just make sure it's on an angle. This guy's crazy.
Oh, shout out to Lachlan. That's such a good bit. It's so spot on, man. Like the George Foreman. That's what's so amazing about it. That's why I had to go over those numbers. That it sold over 100 million units. George Foreman's made over $200 million on that. And realistically, it's a total piece of shit. But it worked. Like, I knew, you're talking about me. I was in college 2000 to 2005. Every single person I knew had a George Foreman grill. Every single person I knew had one in their apartment or their dormitory or the house they lived at. And that little, and I don't know if that's half of Lachlan's bit. I don't know if he has more, but the little I think he's got more to that bit. I think that's just an edited clip. I ripped that from Lachlan's Instagram. The little grease catcher. Remember how the George Foreman grill, it had a little grease catcher. So here's a story here's a George Foreman story. So I am a sophomore in college at St. Louis U. And we're going to visit another one of our fraternity chapters. Right? We would do this. We'd go on road trips, and I was like the king road trip guy. You'd visit one of your other chapters of your national fraternity. So we go, and I was always the guy who would go and literally just destroy. Like I was such a douchebag. I was such an asshole. I would just go and just absolutely destroy the house of our, in quotes, brothers who were letting us stay there. So we'd usually go within 3 or 4 hours of St. Louis, a school that was closed. And a lot of times it would be a pledge road trip, right? The pledges of that semester would go visit another house. They'd go with some active members of the fraternity. And I was always front and center, like, oh, road trip. Let's go visit another campus, cause havoc. So anyway, we went and visited Eastern Illinois University. Eastern Illinois. Who's famous from playing there? Is there some famous Eastern Illinois QB who played there? Jimmy G. I thought it was Jimmy G. Yeah. Jimmy G is probably one of the most famous Eastern Illinois. Did Tony Romo play there too? Did Romo play there? Or was he Illinois State? Let's see what we got here. Eastern Illinois player alumni. Did Romo play there? Anyway. Sean Payton. Okay, so regardless, I'm getting off on a tangent. Who gives a shit? Anyway, here's my point, guys. We go and we visit Eastern Illinois spring semester, my sophomore year at St. Louis University. So that'd be what, 2002. And it's just your classic, just partying. And again, it's always, I always thought it was weird because you go visit and they're your brothers in your fraternity, but you don't know them, but they have to put you up. So we go and I'm just like destroyed. Like these guys hate us. We are just destroying their house. And they had a room. I might have talked about this story before. They have a pristine room. And they're like, don't mess up this room. Like, you couldn't tell me that in college. I was like a child. It's like how I do my 2-year-old. If I tell my 2-year-old not to do something, she exactly does the exact opposite. If I'm like, don't touch that, don't pick that up, she picks it up. That's how I was in college. I was basically a 2-year-old. Oh, you guys tell me we can't party in this room. Boom, I'm getting absolutely blacked out drunk and trying to barf all over your pool table that you don't want me to mess with. That's how I was, just the total asshole. So anyway, we're partying all day, all night. We go to the bars. We've been there 12 hours, and we come back and we got their kitchen going. And I was like Chef Boyard Foreman over here. I had 3 Foremans going, guys. I'm getting into their fridge, all this stuff. They're all sleeping. It's late. They're all sleeping at the frat house. And I'm getting into all the meat, everything. I'm just cooking everything up like I'm Gordon Ramsay, blacked out drunk at 4 a.m. And I got 3 Foremen. I had so many Foremans going, and I was cooking so many burgers and whatever was in there. Who even knows? The little grease pan catchers were so full. I'll never forget this. They were over. I'm such a dick. They were overflowing out of the grease catcher, like all 3 of them, all over the kitchen. So just nothing catching them. So just grease is just dripping down everywhere. And I'm just like, who wants a burger? Who wants cheese on it? And I'm just throwing all this stuff together. And I just remember the grease is just going everywhere. Again, it's just all overflowing. All 3. I had 3 Foremans growing at once, which again, like, why not just have a grill? Maybe they did. Maybe I didn't even look. They had 3 Foremans. The pool table, I remember they were very specific about. It had drinks spilled all over it. I always remember that because we woke up the next morning and the pledge educator, who was a senior, we woke up and I looked at him and he goes, dude, we got to get out of here. We absolutely destroyed their house and rooms they said not to mess with. And we literally all got in our cars. I don't know, it was like 3 hours away, 4 hours away, whatever it was, and just went right back to St. Louis. Can you imagine waking up and there's just grease all over your kitchen, just everywhere because of me. So that's what I think about. Rest in peace, George Foreman. When I think about George Foreman and the George Foreman Grill, I think about that. Man, those are the days. Those were the days. What else did I want to do here? Oh, yeah. Let's do another Ask Men Reddit segment. I did this a few episodes ago. I've been going down this rabbit hole, guys. Again, with a newborn, with a 2-month-old, you're spending a lot of time rocking. And you're rocking her and you're trying to get her to sleep. Or I'm in the rocker and I'm like, what's going on down on Reddit? And I go on these forums because I'm like fascinated what people are saying. So let's talk about some of these. Again, we're on the Ask Men Reddit, which it has a lot of members. It has 445,000 members. There's over 3,700 online now. Let's see what people were saying on the Ask Men Reddit, which is great because women will post in it, men will post in it. This one is from a dude. This was about 12 hours ago. It's got over 3,800 responses. The headline is, dating in my 30s feels like navigating a sea of single moms. Anyone else? All right, let's see what's going on here from Homeboy. A 33-year-old male here. All right, so 33-year-old dude. Lately, as I've been dipping my toes back into dating, I've noticed a trend. Most of the women around my age who are single are also moms. Nothing against them at all, but after a past relationship with a single mom, I've realized that dynamic just isn't for me. I dated a woman when I was 29 and she was 34 with a 6-year-old, and it was a disaster. I felt like it had all the responsibilities of a father figure, but zero say in anything. The kid's behavior was rough, and anytime I tried to step in, I was the bad guy. The biggest issue, she constantly compared me to her ex, even though she claimed he was awful. It left me drained and honestly traumatized. Now, trying to get back out there, I feel old. Like I blinked and suddenly everyone my age has a kid. It's making dating way harder than I expected. Anyone else feeling this way? The question here is, how do you navigate dating in your 30s when you don't want to be in a stepdad role? This is a great question. I feel you, homeboy. So that's how I felt when I moved back to Cincinnati and I was on dating apps. That's exactly how I felt. Right? I'd been in Los Angeles for 13 years. That was not an issue. Literally not an issue. To me, it's a city thing. He's asking that. Like, if you are in Cincinnati and you're in your 30s, which I was, and you're on your app, mid to late 30s, a lot of those women have kids. A lot of them, like I went on a couple dates with a couple. A lot of them have kids. You're not going to have that problem in Los Angeles. You're not going to have that problem in New York. You're not going to have that problem in Chicago. You might have some. You're not going to have many. I don't really remember going on many dates at all with women with kids in LA. That's what you got to do, dude. I'm not telling you to move. I don't know where you live. Dude, it's a whole thing. I understand the stepdad rule. I would never have done it. I'm not against people who do it. I'm not judging you. You do your thing. I never would have I would have never settled down with somebody who had kids. Just not my thing. Again, I'm not against it as far as like somebody doing it. You do you. Me, it just wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing. In fact, I hung out with a girl a few times here in Cincinnati when I moved back, and she had a kid. And like we got to that point where like we were gonna start hooking up, and I remember I just backed out because I was like, she's got a kid. Like, be mature about it, Andy. Like don't bring that bring that into it, because the minute you bring sex into it, it complicates things, and she's got a kid, and like just all that. So, dude, I get it. I like here's my advice: don't bend. If you don't want to mess with somebody with a kid, don't mess with somebody with a kid. That's my advice for any dude. Now, look, there's plenty of women out there too. Like I had those in Los Angeles who's like got a kid and just like looking to like, DTF. If you got that, go for it. But like getting serious, yeah, that's tough. Because everything he said is true. Like you're not the dad, and then you're just putting yourself in a bad spot. Like I personally wouldn't recommend it, especially for somebody like that who's in their 30s. Okay. Oh, this was a good one. I was looking at these just before we started the podcast. This is from a dude. I'm dating someone way too attractive for me. Should I stop? I matched with someone incredibly attractive on a dating app, and she asked me out that same day after talking for a bit. Didn't believe it at first, but we went bar hopping. It was the best date ever. Our conversations flow incredibly well. We have a ton in common, and she's even more attractive in real life. We hung out again the next day and had a great time and have more plans to hang out soon. I'm not the worst looking dude, but it's not even close here. I'm maybe a 6, maybe a 6.5 on a good day, and she's a 10. In fact, a famous music artist picked her out of a crowd at a concert and went on a date with her. Okay, so he's feeling insecure. Should I stop dating her? There's just no way it'll work out, right? It's at that point where us being together in public looks weird. I really like this person. Like I would like to look out for her and be friends with her, even if we weren't dating. I'm taking things way slower than I usually do. Here's the thing, man. There's double standards here. You can be an ugly dude with a hot chick. And this person's saying they're not even ugly. You can be mid, a little slightly better than mid, and be with the hot chick. This is where the double standards. Dudes, you can get away with it. That's my advice to dudes. Don't be insecure. If you got a good personality, you got a good job, you're funny, you're witty, you're charming, that can make up for an ugly dude. It can. In fact, I'll take it one step further. I don't think anybody's too good for anybody. I don't think any chick is too good for a dude. I don't think any dude's too good for a chick. I've always said that. And as you get older and you become in your 30s and 40s, dude, personality is what ultimately matters. You're going to find someone attractive. Obviously, you want to be physically attracted to somebody. But the sex appeal happens more with their personality, with their vibe. That's all true. You don't think she knows she can get anybody? She, according to you, she's got dudes asking her, famous musicians asking somebody to go find her in the crowd. She knows what she looks like. Maybe she just doesn't want that. Just because a chick's a 10 doesn't mean she has to be with some loaded dude or some really good-looking dude with money. She doesn't have to be with a model-looking guy, a jawline of a Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo. She doesn't have to be with that. Maybe she just wants a funny dude, a down-to-earth dude, a weird dude, a quirky dude. Like, this dude needs to get over it. Like, there's a self-esteem issue with this dude, which is totally understandable. He's like, man, I outkicked my coverage. Now, I wouldn't look at it that way. You're bringing something to the table, or she wouldn't be with you. Women know they can get whatever they want for the most part, especially if they're hot. Like, if you're a hot chick, you can get you can get whatever you want. Life is easy. I'm just gonna say it. It is. If you're a hot chick, if you're a 10, life is pretty easy for you. It's gonna help you get work. Gonna help you professionally. Gonna help you dating. You're not gonna pay for drinks. I mean, look, if you're attractive, it goes a long, long way. It does. So if a 10 or a 9 or whatever is with a dude, again, who's not as hot, not as attractive, there's probably a reason. Now, maybe he's leaving that. Maybe he is loaded. Maybe he's got a shit ton of money. I don't know. But I wouldn't tap the brakes because, like, oh, I feel uncomfortable. I feel weird out in public. You should walk around like a boss. You walk around like a pimp, man. Walk around with some swag. Look at the little eye candy. Look at that little arm candy I got on my arm here. I don't know why I'm talking like that, but you get the point. What else we got on Ask Men Reddit? Is it true men don't follow a regular skincare routine? I assume this is from a woman. So what do you think about skincare? Is it necessary, overhyped, or just self-help? Drop your thoughts. This might be from a dude. Skincare, I don't know. Look, I've never really cared about skincare that much, personally. I don't know. Like, I used to always do facial moisturizer for the longest time. Little oil of Olay facial moisturizer. I just basically stopped doing that unless I'm dry. In fact, the older I've gotten, the less I've cared about all that stuff. Skincare. Dude, I've used the same body wash. I've gotten the same body wash, this oil of Olay for sensitive skin. I've gotten this for 10 plus. It's cheap at Costco. I bought it in bulk. I don't know too many straight dudes who care about this stuff, to be honest. Skincare? I bet you Gay Greg does. I bet you if I go ask Gay Greg what kind of skincare, I bet you he could talk about it for days. Oh, I put this on my face and I put this little mask to sleep and I put this on my skin and this on my fingers and I get my nails done here. I don't know too many straight dudes who have a regular skincare routine at all. I'm so basic. I just use the same thing. I'm like, oh, this shampoo works. Oh, this body wash works. What did you say in the comment section here? I follow a very strict skincare routine. I wash my face when I take a shower. Yeah, I feel you. That's me. You know what I learned the other day? Do they wash their hair or their face first when they shower? Like we were talking about it here at home. And Brittany was like, you don't wash your hair first? Everybody washes their hair first. I was like, what? And I was like, do I have a weird routine? So my routine always has been, and I've changed it up since she made me feel stupid. She made me feel awkward. My routine was always wash your face, wash your body, and then wash the hair. That's how I always did it. Wash the face, wash the body, and then wash the hair. And she's like, no, everybody washes their hair first. I was like, really? That's what I should start doing? So now I've been doing that. Washing the hair, then the face, then the body. Made me feel like I was a pariah or something because I washed my face first, then my body, then my hair. I don't, I'm just a dude. I mean, and you don't gotta shower every day. If you don't sweat that much, if you don't work out, I would say if you don't gotta shower every day. I'm not saying showering's overrated, but I'm just saying it's a little overrated. It's a little overrated. Now you got bad BO, shower. I'm just saying, like, if you didn't do anything that was that physical and you weren't sweating, do you really have to shower every day? I just don't think so. Not if you're a dude. I don't know. You guys should ask me these questions. We do have a hotline, 859-935-0078. It's on the screen there. It's always in the description as well, 859-935-0078. You could do a little Ask Andy instead of Ask Reddit, Ask Men on Reddit. Same thing, though. Same concept. All right, guys, that is the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Rate, review, subscribe. It's all available on where all podcasts are available. Spotify, Apple, YouTube. I've been doing these episodes live on X gonna give it to you. We're gonna give it to you. All right, guys, that's the show. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm out. Peace.